Now on MU Report, parking problems at Marshall University, why faculty senate and student government can't agree.
Herd Hoop swings into action with a new coach and a new playing style.
A Marshall senior brings a new face to an old tradition.
All this and more coming up on MU Report.
From the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications, your home for complete Marshall University news. You're watching MU Report.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of MU Report. I'm Jessi Starkey.
And I'm Rob Engel. Parking has always been an issue on campus, and a new plan has Marshall's faculty senate butting heads with student government. The battleground, the 3rd Avenue parking garage, and they cannot decide who should park where.
Faculty Senate's plan to go green is making student government red with anger. Their plan does not allow for overnight parking from Sunday through Thursday on the first 3 levels of this 3rd Avenue garage. Dr. Stephen Mewaldt says this is an environmental issue.
Commuter students come in every day and they have to drive to the levels 3, 4, and sometimes 5. Then they may come back again in the afternoon or at another time, so that they're going in and out sometimes several times a day.
The idea? This extra driving is leaving an impact on the environment.
Using the TripLog app to calculate distance from here at the entrance of the parking garage, it's about half a mile to the 4th floor. And 0.9, almost a mile to the very top.
Traveling just 2 extra levels up and down is about 2/3 of a mile. Multiply this by Dr. Maywald's estimated 300 cars a day, 5 days per week, and 15 weeks per semester, and you get 15,000 miles of extra driving per semester. Divide that by an average of 20 miles per gallon, and this comes out to about 750 extra gallons of gas per semester. Despite the numbers, SGA member Kristin Stevens says she has other concerns about the policy.
I'm more worried about the safety issue for the students who are here on campus, living on campus. What if they have to walk to their car in the middle of the night and they have to walk that extra, walk in the stairwell where it's not very well lit?
Still, students like Eric Newfeld understand where Faculty Senate is coming from.
It is kind of frustrating to roll in at like 8:30 and the garage is already full to like the 5th level because it's all the overnight parkers.
However, both sides want student opinions. If you park in this garage, you may want to look for a survey on your windshield.
SGA has suggested opening the 6th Avenue garage for permit parking as an option.
There's nothing more frustrating than logging onto Blackboard to submit your homework and the website is down. It's an issue Marshall students are all too familiar with. MU Report's Haley Wade has more on what IT has done to fix the issue.
Everywhere you go, you're bound to run into it. Technology is a part of life for college students, and when it doesn't work, it can affect more than just your Twitter feed.
It's kind of difficult when we start having problems now, especially being a last semester senior. There's a lot of things that I need to turn in, and I need to have that line of communication secure and always open.
With so many courses requiring students to turn in work online, a failing website can mean a failing grade in the classroom.
If I need to get in touch with them through email, or if something's wrong with the grades, then it just messes up the whole process, and it gets me behind, it gets them behind, and it's frustrating at times.
Jody Perry, Executive Director of Technology Services, says he knows about the site's issues throughout the semester and that the IT department has already worked to fix the problem.
The problem that we did have with email was not so much with Blackboard as it was with Microsoft. And there was an internal change that Microsoft made with their system, which caused a couple of problems on our end, but that all has been resolved now.
Perry says while he works for IT, he is also working for the students.
A lot of students sometimes think that we're trying to stand in the way of their progress, but that's not the case. I assure you that's not the case. We're here to help students succeed.
Haley Wade, MU Report.
When you think of crime solving, you may think of a bloody glove, a murder weapon, or an eyewitness. But these days, getting to the bottom of a crime involves so much more. MU Report's Tim Carrico tells us how future crime solvers are learning how to catch criminals with digital evidence.
It's a new front in crime solving and a new platform for criminals, one that students going after careers in law enforcement have to be prepared to tackle.
It sounds interesting when I tell people what I'm going to do with my life, and it's always fun to explain to them, I want to make the internet a safer place.
Austin King is a junior at Marshall University, and one day he hopes to work in a federal crime lab. Alston, along with nearly 50 other students, are majoring in digital forensics and information assurance, and they're learning how to solve and prevent crimes.
Everybody in my generation uses their phone for everything. We live, work, and play on our devices, and that's only going to get worse.
And solving these crimes has become more difficult. Director of the Forensics Center, Dr. Terry Fanger, has headed up the department at Marshall since 1994. He says this has been the toughest part of his career, just trying to keep up with the cyber world.
This is like trying to hit a moving target, and the target happens to be on a speeding train going 100 miles an hour. The technology changes continuously.
93 hits.
John Sammons used to be a detective for the Huntington Police Department, but now he traded his cruiser for a classroom and is teaching students how to find evidence on everyday electronics. He says criminals can't escape their digital footprint.
Buy a hamburger anymore, you can't get gas, you can't conduct a banking transaction that you're not taped, photographed, recorded.
Now students also learn how to enhance surveillance video along with check evidence right here on your cell phone. I'm Tim Carrico, MU Report.
Along with careers in law enforcement, students are landing jobs in the business community. Stores are hiring these students to protect their business by identifying security weaknesses.
Nursing moms are no longer banished to random bathroom stalls at Marshall. As MU Report's Amy McAllister Ethel shows us, the Women's Center has a private oasis for nursing mothers on campus.
Pumping breast milk, a task that breastfeeding working mothers do every day. But finding a convenient place to do it isn't always easy. Moms at Marshall have had limited options in the past, but now there is a solution.
Several of us I put together a committee of nursing moms, those who had nursed in the past and those who were going to be nursing very soon. And we started looking at spaces on campus that might be appropriate. We didn't really want a bathroom, we didn't want a closet, we really wanted to find a nice, comfortable space for students to go to.
I can pump in my office, but sometimes people need to come and go in my office. I've got the supply cabinet in my office, so sometimes people need things. They're coming in. Sometimes there are a lot of students around, and sometimes I just want to get away and be out of my office for a little bit. So it's really nice to have another option for that.
The lactation rooms are located here in the Women's Lounge on the second floor of the Memorial Student Center. The space here provides a clean and private alternative for breastfeeding moms at Marshall and also provides information and support as well.
When you have healthy babies, you have less time parents have to take off work to be able to stay home with their children. That includes mothers and fathers. You know, this is only a very positive step.
Amy McAllister Ethel, MU Report.
The Women's Center is open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 p.m.
If you have a brother or sister, you know there's something special about that relationship.
That's what the Big Brothers Big Sisters program is all about, making relationships.
As MU Report's Colton Jeffries shows us, right now the program needs more volunteers than ever.
At first glance, one might think Eris and Adriana were sisters, but they're really a big and little from Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Tri-State, an organization where volunteers spend time with kids who might not have any siblings or who might have a rough home life. Adriana, a student at Huntington Middle School, really enjoys hanging out with her big.
It's really fun, and it just feels like I have an older sister, and you know, it's just like, it's fun for me since I'm like the only girl.
Volunteers for Big Brothers Big Sisters have varied from 18 years old all the way to people in their 70s. But the organization, according to program manager Lee McCloud, is really looking for Marshall students to volunteer to become a big, because it might make the little consider their future schooling.
They may be in a family where college has never been considered important, and if a child has a Marshall student as a big brother or big sister, they can begin to think about their own future. You know, they can see, wow, my big sister's going to college, this is something I could do, or, you know, Marshall is not that far from me, I could do this when I graduate from high school.
Eris has been paired with Adriana for 3 years and stresses that her fellow students should volunteer as well.
I really think it's a way to give back to your community and get active in your community and help local students. And Adriana's really become like a part of my family, so it's great for me also.
Littles and bigs usually get together after school where they can work on homework, play games, or just hang out and talk. Colton Jeffries, MU Report.
If you're interested in volunteering for Big Brothers Big Sisters, you can call the main office at 304-522-2191.
Herd men's basketball is shooting for a successful season under new head coach Dan D'Antoni. I caught up with the team and Coach D'Antoni on their progress so far.
Bring on the Herd. Marshall men's basketball is gearing up for this season with a new coach and a new style of fast-paced, free-flowing offense.
When you watch us play, it's going to challenge you to understand what we're doing, because it's not going to be what you used to. It's going to be more of a paced, ball movement, quicker game.
After 9 years in the NBA, head coach Dan D'Antoni brings a new stride to the Herd.
You got to have new ideas. You can't be looking back. You're always looking forward. And that's kind of the way I operate. Somebody asked me, he said, "Why do you operate like that?" I said, "I got a bad memory. I got to keep moving forward."
Forward James Kelly says D'Antoni's NBA coaching style opens doors for the team for their careers after Marshall.
It's teaching me a lot of new things that I will need for the next level. So he wants us to run a lot, so we have to stay conditioned, and the personal workouts have been great. You know, at first it was a struggle, but then we all caught on to it.
Tradition holds strong for Herd Hall of Famer and Marshall legend Coach D'Antoni as he teaches his players about the history of Marshall basketball.
His main point about when he played in the old days was they played at the field house, and he said they were winning so many games, it was jam-packed, it was so hot, and you could barely breathe. So he wants to bring that type of atmosphere back.
With his unstoppable energy and pride for Herd basketball, D'Antoni says he will make sure nothing blocks his shots.
15 years from now, I hope I'm telling you something else.
Jessi Starkey, MU Report.
Marshall men's basketball will play Concord in their exhibition game November 8th. The Herd will play Jacksonville State to open the season on November 14th.
Black lipstick and gothic clothes, not what usually comes to mind when you think homecoming queen. But as MU Report's Sarah Connors shows us, one candidate on Marshall's court is anything but the usual.
A voice for the voiceless. That's the platform Ashley Pritchard has taken while running for Miss Marshall. She's running for many reasons, and one of them, to make her family proud.
My mom-in-law, who just died of cancer like a couple weeks ago, she was really rooting on me. She really wanted me to go for it, and so I'm making her proud.
Having a homecoming candidate that looks like Ashley has raised some eyebrows, but she hopes to bring a new element of competition to this year's campaign.
The thing I think I could really offer to the community is a kind of a fresh new outlook on the competition and kind of a more inclusive, diverse crowd to really get excited about it.
I think it's fantastic because you don't have people as diverse as her usually running for big time spots like this, you know.
I think it's a good idea because this university supports diversity, and somebody like that running for homecoming queen would give a good example.
Not everyone has been so supportive of Ashley running for homecoming queen, but she hopes to prove them wrong.
As I told people, they were like, "Oh, you're not good enough. Don't you know your place in society by now?" As if my story had already been written. And then I'm like, well then, let's challenge that.
Ashley is also hoping to send a message to Marshall University with her campaign.
Go out and find out what your passions are. Pursue them. When somebody tells you no, say yes. Just say it over and over again and refuse to be defined. Don't let anybody write your story for you.
Ashley has overcome a suicide attempt in her past, and win or lose is making a donation to the crisis hotline for troubled teens. Sarah Connors, MU Report.
I am really excited for homecoming this year. You know, I have a friend coming into town. So, Jessi, what are your plans?
Well, I have family coming in, so I'm really excited to see them and spend the weekend. I'm also excited for this Mr. and Miss Marshall race as well. I think we have some great candidates that we haven't had before, so I'm excited to see what happens with that also.
Yeah, and football. Everyone's riding this wave of excitement that going into midseason and into homecoming, we are still undefeated, so I think everyone is looking forward to this game against Middle Tennessee.
Hopefully we can make it to a big bowl game. That does it for this edition of Marshall's student-produced newscast, MU Report. We'll be back on this West Virginia Public Broadcasting station in 2 weeks.
On behalf of the entire MU Report team, thank you for watching and have a great week.